order. Griggs County Commission, 1 o'clock, February 22nd, 2019. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll, I suppose. John,
Here.
Dale,
Here.
Mark,
Here.
Sean, Troy's here. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda as presented?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Been moved by Dale to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Any discussion?
I need a
further
second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. February 8th meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections to the minutes from the February 8th?
February 8th minutes of this council meeting.
Been moved by Dale to approve the minutes from the February 8th meeting and dispense with reading. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, we'll move on to the bills.
There's just one that needs to be added if we could. Cooper Mechanical for $195.94
Cooper Mechanics.
What's up?
for the furnace.
Who is it?
Josh.
Yeah, we're gonna try them out now.
Oh, is Logan on his own now? Is that his business name?
I don't think so, is it?
You know, I'm not sure how they do it.
He worked for Roger Schalke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With them maybe, or before,
Yeah.
probably with.
Like a journeyman right now, right?
Cooper Mechanical must have changed it from R&S Heating or something.
I think they work together, I think, I'm not sure.
I can't remember when we've had them all.
Anyway, it's $195.94 to repair the oil furnace at the county shop.
Okay.
They must have a used oil furnace down there or something. Because the main heat's propane.
Right, and that's what we're gonna use from now on in the courthouse.
Not
Well, I don't know, we were gonna,
Schultz.
we were gonna explore some,
Local options.
cause it costs so much to have them go back and forth. So what did we pay last for Schultz to go back and forth?
It was a bunch.
$180
$2,000.
just to
Most of the
drive,
labor.
$90 an hour.
And they can't blame him, I mean,
No.
he's a long ways away. If we got someone local, it's road new building.
that's
Oh, God.
and there's an amended thing on there too. This one. Estimated, like the estimate. There's a new one attached to there as well.
Right, so new building expense, is that what you labeled that?
Yep. I created a new account and then we wrote that check and then deposited it into that fund. Yep.
It should probably be labeled Binford
Okay. Okay.
Maintenance Building, yeah.
Okay.
In 20 years, I'll
So
wonder.
eventually it won't be a new building.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. I wonder what it is. SP assessment. Mint expenses. $9,900.
Special assessment, what's that?
Okay, is that our tax, is that the road taxes that we pay in the city?
Okay, which page are you on?
Page 5, 9917.
Special assessment fee, yeah. I think that's. Let's see here. Yeah. Those are for the city of Cooperstown. Yep.
We have this block, we have the county shop, and then I suppose we still pay on Main Street too.
Yeah, I just didn't, I mean, I knew we did that, but
Yeah, yeah.
what was the regional corrections for 3,200 on
Regional correction.
Imagine the housing, somebody. Hmm?
That's been.
See the Mercy Hospital one didn't come back.
I have a letter into them right now, and we're waiting for a respond back. We're actually asking them to forgive the entire thing, so gonna see how that goes.
Could probably give you a hint.
It's worth a try.
Oh, absolutely.
So
It's a little excessive.
Pete Anderson spent 9 days. Josh Brown spent 4. Derek Kraus spent 11. And Ryan Ring spent 22 days in Stutzman County. That's what the bill was. 46 days.
Can't they drop them off the county and let them go?
I don't even know who some of those people are. Do you?
No, I don't either.
Should be a way to get that back, pay restitution.
At some point, the discussion has to be had on what is the benefit of incarceration over the price. I mean, what are we incarcerating these people for? Is it something that's worth this to the taxpayer, or is it strictly punitive, which probably doesn't do any good?
I don't know what the charges are.
You know, and at some point, because of the way we elect our law enforcement, they're elected. They're there, and that is that way because law enforcement is supposed to bend to the will of the people. What do the people want done? Again, there's to create the public good and safety. Yes, the people have to be incarcerated, but at a point, what is safety and what is just abuse to the taxpayer?
Yeah, we don't know.
And we don't know.
Mhm.
We don't know, and we can't direct the sheriff to arrest or not to arrest. We
No.
can't direct the state's attorney to charge or not to charge. But it's our job to let the public know what's going on. So it has to be talked about in these meetings. What is going on? Why are these charges incurred? Because we're the ones that are supposed to
Pay for it.
justify and pay and
So when these people are picked up, they go to court, if they get fined, does the district court get the fines? Nothing comes back to the county or anything?
That's your courtroom grant. That's what that money goes for. It doesn't go to the state's
It's
general
district
fund
court.
either.
No.
Never
Stays
makes
at the district court level, doesn't it?
never makes it back to where it should go. So it looks like this Derek Kraus deal was a failure to appear.
That's correct, and so how is that the county's? Well, I think where this should start, guys, is I think we should have, in the monthly office reports, I think we should have an accounting of what the calls into the sheriff and what they've answered. And that's standard, I mean, that's public knowledge, that's supposed to be public knowledge. Because there's a market upturn in the fees, in what we're paying for incarceration here.
Does the judge have anything to do with?
I don't know.
I
Absolutely.
suppose there's,
You know,
there's a
So
warrant-
here's Ryan
there's a
Ring.
warrant for the rest if they don't appear.
Yeah.
I would-
Ryan Ring's deal. Aggravated assault, adult victim, domestic violence. So he appeared, pled guilty. Notify Court of Adverse Exchange, not possess or own firearms, supervise probation 18 months, violate no criminal laws, complete anger management, sobriety program, complete recommended treatment, 360 days in jail with 330 days suspended, credit for time served. So he went to the Stutzman County Jail for 22 days
Yeah.
based on, actually it was going to be 28 days. There's going to be another bail
And
probably.
he appears to be a threat to society.
Right. So the judge is the one that
Yeah.
reserved his room.
Yeah.
So after the judge determines that, we flip the bill, or
Correct.
after? Okay.
Well, it's a three-step process.
Okay.
It's the initial arrest,
Yeah.
arresting officers, and it's the state's attorney as
Yeah.
far as what they charge them with and what they want. They recommend a sentence,
Yeah.
and ultimately it's a judge that
Decides the
decides.
sentence. So, I mean, that's the deal.
Is what it is.
But I mean, either way, we should make that information public. If these are what appears to be bad guys, the public should know that the law enforcement is doing their job and keeping these people away from the public. And they log every call that comes into the sheriff's department. And I mean, we've seen that before with the prior sheriff.
So you want the phone logs? That's what you're.
No.
Well,
So I can ask this?
no,
How many
the calls they
calls?
respond to, I mean, the
Okay.
response log.
Okay.
And every time they respond to a call, it's put down,
Right.
and it doesn't have to be descriptive, it just needs to,
Like a number of how many.
and what it was
Yeah.
and the outcome.
Don't have to have who or.
No, it doesn't have to, it shouldn't have the name of who's involved, it's just
Just the event.
Any other questions or comments on the bills?
Moved, pay the bill was presented with the addition of mechanical.
195.94.
It's been moved by Dale to approve the bills as presented with the addition of the Cooper Mechanical bill. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. David. That's a nice cap, John, thanks.
2020.
Lori and I stopped up down one. Well, it's been a Friday night, and Lori and
Marie.
Murray were. Oh yeah, you guys were sitting on the. Yeah, Murray had his MAGA hat on. I said, Murray, that looks just like mine.
Yeah.
He'd gotten it from their daughter for Christmas.
But he'd heard conversation the week before he didn't like, so I decided to wear his cap.
So, number 8 of this, taxes and appropriations, appropriations. Any and all special assessments are to be paid by the seller.
Where you at?
Page 11, paragraph 8.
This is for that property in Binford.
They were buying from the city, right?
Are there special assessments?
I don't know that.
But they're not going to agree to pay for special assessments when they're selling this lot for $1,000.
Well, no.
At least I hope they don't.
Well, I mean, they were. We approached them about selling this lot, so even if the price was, I don't think I would hope they wouldn't agree to it. I think they should be the
Should be stricken, shouldn't it?
city of Binford. Yeah, the specials would be prorated by, or put in place by the city of Binford, and the city of Binford, it would be a wash.
Well, it would follow the lot.
Right, but does the city of Cooperstown pay specials on
To themselves?
their property? No, it's a wash.
Don't know.
Well, yeah. But anyway, it should be paid by the buyer.
Doubt it, you're just paying yourself, otherwise.
But it's assessed to the real estate taxes, so why does it need to be in there at all?
Have to ask Jamie.
Unless they're behind on them.
That's one scenario, yeah.
The city owns the lot, they can't be behind on them.
Shouldn't be.
Because I've never bought a lot in town, I don't know how all that works.
Usually they're paid up and they're prorated to the time you buy it for the next year. And
Right,
that's all there is to it.
right. It
Right,
just
so then-
follows the lot.
Number
Yeah.
9,
Yeah.
You can't hardly sever them.
number 9 should be
You could pay them off, I suppose.
purchaser rather than seller. Number 8, seller should be changed to purchaser, I think.
Just to eliminate the seller altogether in the cost of abstract or is that what you're getting at, John?
Which period, where?
On 9, when you're talking about with the title or the warranty deed,
Yeah, I mean,
On
the
the
purchaser should be responsible for all costs. This wasn't
Yeah.
an offered sale, this was a,
Yep.
Solicited one.
Yeah, otherwise usually it's the seller that brings
Right.
everything up, but, yeah. However you.
we
would-
can't hardly tell them, we can't hardly make them an offer on the
Yeah.
purchase of the property and say, oh, by the way, you gotta pay all the fees when they didn't wanna sell it in the first place.
That's right.
This is some kind of a can thing from someplace
Yeah.
not around here.
Yep.
Just looking at, I mean,
Oh.
Yep.
Google real estate purchase agreement.
well,
They're generic.
just because in,
Too bad,
is there an abstract with this, for this thing?
should be.
For the city of Binford owns it, I don't know that.
I mean,
Probably didn't always own it,
I don't
so
know
there
that.
should be something.
They might have.
They could.
I mean, a pretty good chance that if it's owned by the city, it was always owned by them, because otherwise, if we went back for taxes, it would have been resold. So, unless someone deeded it to them, and then usually they sell it off. Pretty good chance it's probably originally
City.
city property.
Should ask Kelly,
Yeah, I'm not, yeah. Is Kelly around?
or
Kelly would know.
This offer
she doesn't,
is,
it's not really her job to do title opinions, so she can't do that, or
But
she,
she'd tell you what was usually available or what was usually done in a situation like that, probably.
if we had a good legal description, I could go look at it. Well, maybe not, it might not go back.
yeah, I got it right up there on the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it should be in this purchase agreement.
It is.
But if nothing's happened for a long time, I won't be able to see it on Endron. What I was getting at is it says they're gonna provide a warranty deed and a title insurance policy. Well, if there's an abstract, we don't really need title insurance.
So then if you go down to paragraph 6, it says this offer is not contingent. There needs to be something separating the two choices from the contingent upon purchaser. So I think the contingent should be then start on in parentheses. So it should say this offer is contingent upon purchaser at purchaser's expense obtaining a property inspection. The is and is not needs to be taken out of the total paragraph and put as an option.
Well, they got two of them for us to pick from, or what?
No.
One is for the city and one is for that other gentleman. Yeah, Edlin.
For who?
Edlin
Oh.
Lennis.
Sounds like we need our state's attorney to look at this again.
Well, this one can't be executed until this one's done. We're trying to sell something that we don't have ownership to.
Yeah.
Well, in 6 there, I would just say, this offer is not, I would just check the is not contingent, right?
You could. I mean, if we have somebody inspect it, it's just indemnifying us, it's not costing, and so it'll be for our benefit. So yeah, either way. If it is contingent, it doesn't cost the seller anything anyway. So I mean, I guess having someone inspect it would be so we don't have it inspected and we go and stick a backhoe in the ground and dig up 4 barrels of arsenic. Yeah, maybe we wouldn't have found that anyway, but at least if we had the inspection done, that would indemnify us from something like that happening. Jamie hasn't come to the meeting?
It didn't sound like it. I asked if anybody'd seen him and nobody else.
What do you wanna do with it?
Oh, I'm not a lawyer, I mean, I can't step in and straighten it out and Troy, I mean,
Yeah.
we're not lawyers.
Yeah.
It needs to be done, it needs to be done by the state.
So we got tables for next meeting.
So, okay, see no action, we'll, get David's report.
I'm just notifying you how things stand right now. For last year, 2018, we increased egg land just above 3% to be within the 90% of the state estimate. For 2019, the state raised their estimate again of what the egg land values are. So right with what our current egg land, we're at 87% of tolerance. So there's not a whole lot that we can do. There's nothing to do at this point, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up of, to be within the 90% tolerance, we'll probably need another 3% increase at county equalization. So that's just
What did you say, they go back, they use 10 years?
They go back on the, because it's based on gross returns, the production index, and then the cap rate. And so for the year that we're, for 2017, the year we're replacing is 2007. And so the 2017's returns are higher than 2007, so the average is up there. They raised the cost of production index, which would decrease the value, but then the cap rate went down, which pushes the values back up.
What's it got down to?
4.1 or 4.51%, and last year it was 4.67. And that's most.
So they just use the cap rate to manipulate that number to whatever they want it to be.
It's gonna be the same thing every goddamn year.
So, and because they'd say that the cap rate comes from the Federal Land Bank interest payments or interest rates of the last 12 years, with the highest and lowest year thrown out. I don't know what it, because obviously interest rates have been going up.
So they lowered the cap rate. So it's just a manipulative way to
Increase
screw with the
valuation.
numbers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've never been able to, and Ron was a big push on this, as you know, never been able to see how those formulas were determined. We got the formula, but then how were those formulas determined? They would never give us the
data?
corresponding data to show how that happened. And it went on, well, as you know, one of them quit over it.
Right.
So the data itself is flawed. I mean, if you don't let people know what inputs you put in there to achieve
Right.
the goal, you're never going to be able to fix it, because they can say, well, here's what the program says. Yes, but
What
made
numbers
up the
did you put
inputs
in
the
it?
program?
Because the New York Prime was at what, 3.25 for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
In the last 15 months or whatever it's been, it's gone up 225 basis points. Wall Street Journal prime rate now is 5.5. So the cap rate can't be going down.
No.
It can't.
Well, I mean, where do the yields come from? We've never even been able to determine that.
Well, you just said it was from the Federal Land Bank or whatever. There's no Federal Land Bank anymore, but
It's the, let's see, I have it in my office, the Agri Bank or something. Yeah, I don't know where that comes from. I figured, with the spreadsheet, I figured out how the calculation is done, but like so I could walk you guys through of how they reach this final number. But in terms of where the source of the gross returns,
Right.
I'm not sure where that's.
Well, see, the formula means nothing. Well, we understand how that
It's
works.
the data you put in.
It's the data that's been put in is what they won't give us. So how do you argue with it? Well, that data's wrong. How do you know? Well, take our word for it. It's right. Well, show us. No, we're not showing you. That's privileged information, and we've been through this over and over and over again.
besides that, what's gross return got to do with anything?
Well, it has everything to do with it if you're trying to
Manipulate.
if you're trying to manipulate the price so that
Right.
you have more borrowing power at the state level.
But most of my customers care more about the net than they do the gross.
As well, we should. I mean,
Right.
anybody that's been paying attention to the land valuations in Griggs County knows that land valuations are trending down and have been for the last 3 or 4 years. How then does the state think they're trending up? And why would they think that? And it's very easy to figure out why they want that. They want more equity in the state of North Dakota so that they can have more borrowing power. And what they use against us, I mean, we don't have to agree to this. They've threatened us, and it is just a threat because I don't think they can't be punitive with the raising of their percentages, but they say, well, we'll raise the percentages and we might raise them to 100%. Never got them to put that in writing, by the way.
It's just been a threat.
And what they'll do is if we don't raise it, they will instruct Sam to raise it.
And we'll instruct her not to.
Yep. And then we'll be paying $3,200 for her sitting over in Hillsborough, but it'll be worth it then.
That's
We
worth
could do
it.
35 in our nice room.
I think you'll be the only martyr ever in Griggs County history.
We'll send you some cookies once in a while.
They still have a Dairy Queen there.
Okay, thanks. You guys will come visit.
Won't have to worry about storm days.
Every
They all
it's a
are.
storm day.
Storm days. So anyway, we go through this every year.
So that's where things stand right now.
But why wouldn't,
How do you know this so early in the game? Usually we don't find this out until October.
Well, they send out the estimate.
So this is just an estimate.
The state sends out their estimate in, I think they send it out beginning of January.
You guys know about this around June. That's when your tax equalization
So it
is.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, usually,
I believe that, yeah.
technically the townships could raise their own ag land values, and then you wouldn't have to do anything at equalization. But I think it's better at the county level because it. Long story short, I think it's better to have it at the county versus the individual townships. Because say because each average value is different in each of the townships because of the different soils. So if you're trying to, because right now if we're at 87% tolerant, yeah.
But you see the absurdity of this, don't you? I mean, each township is supposed to equalize, then the county is supposed to equalize. What the state is asking us to do here is do their job of equalization. We're supposed to equalize the townships amongst each other. The state is now saying, Griggs County, you raise yours so that our equalization turns out right. The state is supposed to be the one that steps in here and raises it if they want it equalized, not us. If we're following the protocol as it works its way up. They just don't have the political balls to do it.
Is the entire state the same percentage?
Percentage of.
Let's say, is the entire state all three, down 3%? Basically,
No,
is what we're saying?
No.
It varies by county?
It varies by county. They, what did Neil say? On average,
But they're all
on the average,
90%
on the average.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
of the valuation.
But I mean, they're all down. If everybody's at 90% and they come back and say this figure is 87, are they all down 3%?
Oh, no.
No, we could just say if a.
'Cause that's what I was gonna say.
Some counties will run it up
to-
to the 100 so they have more revenue.
But I mean, they're all, cause where we are from last year, we're down 3%.
Valuation doesn't raise revenue.
You're saying, is it a conspiracy in every county down 3%?
Is it the whole state that just comes in, he says, I think you're down 3%, everybody.
Only if the county is running at the absolute minimum.
Yes,
We make
yes.
that decision.
But I mean, if they're at 100%, they're still down 3%.
But they're
No.
within the tolerance, they don't have to do
Yes.
anything.
Yes.
97%.
Yes.
They'd be fine.
They wouldn't have to do anything, but they're
Right.
still down 3%.
Right.
But
That's what I'm asking, because
because of the way that they do this, and valuations are based on productivity.
Yes.
Not every county can be the same. Unfortunately, it appears like they are. So I've always believed that the reason that that the state knew what the increase was going to be this early was because they didn't get the increase from NDSU. The state gave the NDSU the increase they wanted, and NDSU made the paperwork fit it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom of the page, when they get the cap rate, they use that to true up the formula.
Yeah. But they get terribly perturbed if you point that out to them.
Just solving for X is all it is.
Yeah, it's all just artificially manipulated up so that you have more borrowing power. Someone's got to take a stand sometime.
I do every year.
I don't understand how they come up with their numbers to put into the formula isn't public knowledge.
No. No. We have multiple requests. And the most we ever got was the formula itself, and you've got that. How that formula was, what made up, how that formula was derived when we request that a zillion times. No. Even tried to compel the state's attorney, right, the attorney general to make him produce it, and no.
And what's their reasoning for not having to? We're above the law or what?
Call whistleblower.
Well, I mean, you can only speculate, but I mean.
And they
What-
never
what-
gave you a reason why they didn't produce it? They just didn't produce it?
No.
Hmm.
They said it was proprietary. You can speculate. You can speculate why they won't produce it. It's easier to speculate why shouldn't they produce it. So they should produce it if it was all in the up
Sure.
and up. So if they don't, you
Sure.
have to assume the opposite,
Sure.
that it's manipulative. But I've always been of the opinion to force them to do it. But
You can decide what you guys want to do with county equalization. Don't have to decide until then.
Well, we don't have much choice.
For sales ratio, or this, sales ratio right now, we're at, for 2018 sales was 83%. Right now, but we're short of sales, so I'll be needing to add in the 2017 ratio, which was which was in the right range, so that should bring up our number, but we'll still probably be short of the tolerance for residential property. So I'll have the final numbers come
Is Ryan coming?
March or so. But
How can you be short of the tolerance when you're using actual sales? That doesn't fit in my brain.
Because they wanted a certain number of sales.
you have to have a certain number of sales for
Yeah.
it to
So you just keep going back until you get this
until you have
enough of them.
enough sales. You have to take you have to go back the previous year and add in all those sales until you have the valid number. And usually 1 year of sales is will do it. So last year I think the percentage was in the 90% tolerance level. So I haven't finalized.
That's what I mean. It doesn't make sense to me that there's a tolerance level when you're using actual sales. It is what it is.
It's another formula of fabricated data.
Well, again, this is the job of the state. It's a state equalization. The county equalization is done. This is so that the state can equalize the county with other counties. Why aren't they doing their job and having someone come in here and do that? We have to equalize the townships. That's our job. Then once the townships are equalized, then the county is equalized. They're trying to equalize Griggs County with Steele County and Nelson County and everything else. That's why they're doing this. But then why are they making the county commission do that? It should be the next step up. It should be the state that's doing that.
Because it's not constitutional. State can't assess property.
There you go, taking the century code literally.
Damnedest thing I've ever seen.
That's all I have.
So, thanks, David.
I heard Jamie, so I'll be right
Yeah.
back.
Too late.
But I mean, at some point, aren't we doing a disservice to the taxpayers here? We're supposed to be here representing the taxpayers, and here we are offering them up as fodder.
Without the knowledge, as like you're saying, without the knowledge of how they even formulate the.
Why?
Yeah.
What caused that? Go ask.
Yeah.
Did your land go up? Did yours go up? Did yours go up? Did mine? No.
I've been able to sell mine for 2% more than I could have last year.
Yeah. Maybe.
You must have saved 3% more calves this last year. You're the culprit.
That's why the productivity.
Your productivity went up.
But land here isn't selling for $3,000 and $4,000 an acre anymore.
No.
And all through that time, when it went back down to where it is now, the state was pushing it up. The state was going higher. There isn't any.
There's no graph, it's just a straight line. It's a straight line.
Right, their argument is that it's never been close to what it should be. But I don't agree with it. But so, old social services building. Stacy emailed me today, and she got an offer on that building. She wanted to know if we were agreeable. So, seller will provide, let's see, $33,000. And they want to do a 1-year contract. Seller will provide abstract, obviously. Buyer will have access to the abstract to have a title opinion completed. Um,
But now they wanna have a 1 year,
right, so let me finish that. Sale is contingent on a satisfactory inspection at the buyer's expense. Inspection will take place no later than March 5th. Upon agreement by both seller and buyer, this purchase agreement contract for deed will be prepared by attorney with the terms and conditions of the sale. Buyer acknowledges that the remaining real property, including any defects, is sold at its present as-is condition. Contract for deed terms. At closing, buyer will pay $6,000 to the seller by certified check. The remaining amount to $27,000 will be paid no later than 1 year after the close date. The contract for deed will include an amortized schedule with a 3% interest rate.
That's awfully cheap interest compared to what I have to pay.
Well, the amortization's only one payment then, right?
It's one, yeah, it's 1 year, so it's not, it don't matter. It's not a very big number and it's not for very long. If the buyer defaults on payments of this contract for deed, the seller may cancel the contract, resume possession of the property, and keep all payments made by the buyer as liquidated damages, and the seller can reclaim the property. Well,
You would never reclaim it on a contract for deed because it would never.
it'd never have been recorded.
Right. It would never
So
be
it,
relinquished.
that's kind of beside the point. The deed's not going to be recorded until the contract is satisfied.
Yep.
The contract will get recorded,
Correct.
but it'll never be released
Right.
if it doesn't get paid. So the buyer will take possession on the day of the closing, at which time the buyer will also be responsible for utilities insurance. Buyer will be responsible for insuring the property and will list the seller as lien holder, which it should be loss payee, but anyway, it ends up being the same thing. So,
What do we have it listed for? What they're asking?
40, maybe? I don't remember. 35?
I don't know.
I'll look for you.
So, the only fault I find with it is taxes.
well, they're gonna pay $6,000.
Right now, the selling price
Yeah.
is 65,000.
I thought we lowered it to 40 or something. What's the date on that?
This was 8/8/17.
Oh, so that's what we lowered it to?
I mean, if they can get the money, why are we financing?
This was the
Well, maybe
Newest one that we
maybe
did.
there's, who knows, and maybe there's extenuating
oh
circumstances.
no, yes, the
But
price is 40. Yep,
Yeah.
it's right there down the bottom.
So the listing is 40,000 and he's making a $33,000 offer. Question is, do we want to keep pursuing this or do we want to just get done with
Last meeting, we were just kind of done with it.
That's how I feel. I think there's more risk in keeping it than there is in getting rid of it and having somebody make use of it. And it'll do the city some good if they get done, somebody's paying real estate taxes.
Now, that was my point, so for the 1 year here where the county retains ownership of it, it won't be on the tax rolls.
I mean, this is just like renting it out. If we rent it to them and we get it back next year and it's in half the shape it is now, what do we do then?
Well, I don't know if you can really hurt it real bad.
Huh?
I think I'd maybe like rather see a third down, 11,000.
I'd rather see them just pay the money to us and you can have it and go get financed someplace else.
That would be the best case scenario.
Whoever it is, I don't know who it is. So,
No, No, that's irrelevant. I think-
That's irrelevant.
I don't think we better, I don't
Yeah,
think I don't wanna know who it is.
yep.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
I'd like to see it property get out of the county's hands. It's not the ideal way to get rid of it, contract for deed. There hasn't been much movement in the last 2 years on it, so.
What's the previous offer? $6? What was the previous offer?
6 or 8.
6 or 8,000. That was it, maybe before we went
It wasn't really an offer. It never got put in writing.
No.
But I mean, that was an obvious financing problem.
So Jamie?
Well, I think you guys can do it if you want to do it. It's been listed for just about 2 years, and we haven't gotten any other offers other than that $6,000 offer or whatever it was. So I don't know.
What's their exposure of damages to the
Well, it'd
building and
be-
stuff with the county?
It'd be the same as anybody else. I mean, if they trash the building, they trash the building, and it's up to us to try to collect from them or to repair it. So
It said indemnification of insurance, didn't it?
yeah, except I don't know, my experience with collecting insurance on something caused by human interaction with that building is not
Oh, no,
good.
that part of it, no.
So if they ruin the building and we get it back, then it's up to us to fix up again, or sell in that condition and take the loss.
The other thing we could do is accept the offer but not finance it, see what happens.
That's what I'd rather see done, if we could do it that way. First, I suppose you.
I don't know this, but I'm assuming that if they're asking us to do a contract, that
Yeah,
they have not been successful in securing commercial financing.
sure.
So there's a pretty good chance, I would, in my head, that if we say we're not gonna do that, that it isn't gonna happen. I mean,
Yep.
With that said, if that person also is unable to secure financing, they might not be able to pay for the building at the end of the term either.
I know
And how much do they wanna pay down now?
that, 6,000. So
I guess it's just a matter of whether we wanna take a chance or.
that's not a very big number. If you were gonna go to, you'd say if this thing appraises for 33,000, if that's what you're gonna pay for it. If you were to obtain commercial financing, you would probably have to come up with more than that.
Yeah.
So, like Sean's,
Third,
he's thinking a third, maybe it's something between 6,000 and a third. Maybe it's 10,000, maybe it's some other, I mean, I think the financing part of it is out of necessity. I don't know that, but I'm guessing. But maybe the down payment is negotiable. If you're worried about having some risk on the other end of there being some kind of damages or something, that would mitigate some of those risks. If we ended up with it back again. So, it's up to you guys, but that's just my
Seems reasonable.
rambling.
I think we should sit there and try to get a little more up front.
It's close to 20% now.
It's close.
Doesn't take long from my experience for someone to cause $6,000 worth of damage to someplace, especially if you're hiring it done, because I've been in that position before.
Mm-hmm. a third seems reasonable, I guess.
It shut down.
How come?
Battery went dead.
So, what are your wishes, fellers?
Counter with a $10,000 down payment then?
Is that motion?
Yeah. In the world.
Well, been moved by Mark that we counter offer to the potential purchaser of the social services, the old social services building at the terms that were presented, other than the down payment be raised from 6,000 to 10,000. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Second by Sean. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. I will get a hold of Stacy Arstead after the meeting and tell her. I told her I'd get a hold of her this afternoon.
Jamie's here if you guys would like to talk about those purchase agreements too.
What's that? Oh,
If you wanted to go back to those purchase agreements.
the only thing, Jamie, I think we should clean it up a little bit.
Okay.
The purchaser is responsible for all the costs. So if you look at paragraph 8, special assessments, I don't know if there would be any anyway, but it should be paid by the purchaser.
Okay.
And then number 9, purchaser, right?
On,
Paragraph 9, title.
okay,
And then page 10, this offer is contingent upon purchaser at purchaser's expense.
yep,
That's the only 3 I saw. What do you guys see? And then the next,
okay, when you said purchase number 10, I haven't got my pen in my stuff.
number 9 would be purchaser.
Okay,
Number 8 would be
You need a pen?
purchaser.
I just stole one from-
Okay.
Purchaser.
from Dale.
How come that title insurance language is in there?
I just grabbed a generic.
I can tell.
I can take that over.
I mean, is there an abstract?
I don't know if there is an abstract.
I think you need to find that out. If there's not an abstract, we'll have to have title insurance, but
Okay,
I'm hoping that there is one. You should be able to go to the recorder's office and see if that thing was owned by somebody at some time. Before the
sure.
city got it back.
I'm sure it was.
So then we need to decide if it was, then we'll have to decide if we're gonna build an abstract or buy title insurance. And it might not make a hill of beans a difference which way. I mean,
Well, based on what happened up at Red Willow, it's a heck of a lot cheaper, I think, to take with title insurance for what happened there than to build an abstract.
that's only because the title company or the
Yeah, that's
abstractor
true, they didn't want
stabbed herself in the foot.
to, yeah.
Because those title insurance policies are based on the purchase price, so they're not that expensive up there. They wanted to negotiate the price of those abstracts and she wouldn't do it.
Right.
And so she'd have had 100 abstracts and the only difference would have been the last page and she wouldn't play. not a smart move. Because before they did that, there, you could not buy title insurance in Griggs County, now you can. Her job might be over. That was not a wise thing to do.
Okay, I'll get that changed for you guys and get it to you.
Okay.
I'll do some checking on abstract and title insurance.
Because I'd like to see this move forward, can we give authority to a couple guys to make the deal, so it'd be done? Or doesn't
Well,
it?
you can, I mean, you can vote to do it contingent on a contract being done by me and you can,
Well, no big hurry, is it?
There isn't? We're good?
Well, I don't think
Okay.
we're gonna be building anytime soon.
So on page 13, Jamie, on the next agreement,
yep.
I think 4 can be completely, see what you think, but I think 4 can be eliminated.
Yeah, I think so too, because it's, you guys know what you're getting at.
5 needs to be eliminated for sure.
Okay. Yep. And I'll do the same for the taxes. and
Yeah, same for the
operations.
summer 6, that needs to be changed to
Purchaser.
purchaser.
7 will change the purchaser.
Yeah, no, that's purchaser, and then the warranty deed and that, I mean, you could, if we're gonna do a warranty deed, that's all we need to do, we don't need any of the rest of it, correct?
If you don't have an abstract,
It's tough to do in a warranty deed. I think we're probably gonna take getting a quick claim deed from them.
Okay.
It's tough to get a warranty deed without having an abstract.
if you don't have an abstract, you are gonna end up, you should probably buy title insurance or build the abstract, one of the two.
Yeah, I think so too.
And you can do either. It'll probably cost you $200-300 for title insurance and $1,200 for an abstract, depending on how many entries there are.
And title insurance is quicker, would be quicker probably than an abstract. Yeah.
Right. And then number 10 on that, it's a vacant lot, so there's no personal property.
Okay, we'll get it done.
So, yeah, I don't think they can build it till spring anyway,
Yeah, it won't start.
so I don't think there's any, other than this, and I think we'll have.
There won't be any hiccups in the way or anything.
Does the county have someone pick to build the building?
Yeah, we all accepted a bid on it already.
Cash and carry.
Cash and carry.
Then they're doing it through their contractors?
Oh, I don't know, whatever.
They're doing it.
I think Wayne already bought, looks like he already bought the sheeting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was under the cost where we had to put it out for bids, correct?
Yeah.
We just checked prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, $150,000
Right.
for bid.
We had 4 different companies, I think.
Yeah.
Give us a cost
3
on
anyway.
it.
Yeah, as long as you have 3 do it and you don't need bid. I was more so curious for my own needs. I'm putting a building up and looking.
This is a stick building, I think, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and I have a bid from them. They just couldn't find a contractor to do it for me.
Mm.
Okay.
One thing I should bring up to you guys that wasn't on the agenda, but we did get the bill from Savin for that construction of the Savin website from the AG's office, and it looks like it's gonna be like $300 a quarter, or $300 every 6 months, I think, for the next 2 years. Is what the county's gonna have to pay, so it costs county $1,200, but we can pay it out of those victim witness fees out of that account.
Okay. What's 7?
It's a state body or state thing, it's a website calling service that's put up because of Marzy's law to notify victims of court dates and when that person's, if a person that's incarcerated is getting out of jail, to be in compliance with Marzy's law. And that's what they added extensive for is to comply with Marzy's law.
Okay. Winter show booth. Are we gonna appoint, let's see. We'll appoint Mark to be the weed officer for next week?
I'm in Vegas next week. You're out of luck.
You had March.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Good for you.
I think Sam should just reply that at this time, our weed officer just resigned and we haven't replaced him yet, so nobody's gonna be there.
Yeah.
I don't know who, I mean,
Sounded like they overscheduled for that reason anyway.
so, you wanna do
Sam
that?
did serve a contempt of court time down there to
Maybe
win.
she could do it. Maybe she'd do it at the Burns County Correctional Facility.
Yeah, preemptive service, time served.
Work release.
Community service.
do a little rotation just to get
Yeah.
some build up.
No. No, I don't need it.
You did see that we're gonna get a bill for that too,
What?
for that booth. It's gonna be,
Anyway, we won't be there.
Oh, I did see we're gonna get a bill. That doesn't mean we're gonna pay it.
Yeah.
okay. The cost of the booth is
We take it out of our
$425.
LAP or funds.
How many counties are there? Are there 11 counties? Is that what area 2?
Yeah, it goes all the way down to Livermore.
So that's 11 counties? Is that
I
right?
don't know. Well, I wondered if that says area 2 that has 11 in parentheses. I was
Yeah.
making the assumption that was the number of
1, 2,
participants.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess we can talk about that when the time comes. And then I got a letter here last week from the North Dakota Department of Agriculture, so the landowner assistance program will be available again in 2019. I guess that's not booth talk, but
We did get a payment, you saw that letter too.
yep. Local permit for raffle from Red Willow Ministries. This must be their annual quilt raffle. Motion to approve.
So move.
Moved by Mark to approve the permit for the Red Willow Ministries raffle. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Old courthouse, new courthouse.
I was asked to bring to your attention that there is snow and ice falling from the building and hitting people as they're walking to the door. They thought maybe we should put up some signs saying like, watch for falling snow and ice, or is there something else that we can do about it?
Which building, this one?
Yes.
No.
I've got a roof rake that's coming tomorrow.
Welcome to North Dakota, it snows. Can't believe it.
Where's it falling off the roof at?
At the front door, well, all the way through, but I know
The front door,
one
the peak's running the other direction.
one lady was walking through the door and it fell on her.
Oh. Were you up on the roof?
I was not. Debbie was out moving snow, and so she asked that I bring it to your attention that I don't know if that's.
I don't know what we can do.
I'll look at it when we walk out. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, we instruct the appropriate people to remove the snow. We don't do it.
There's a lot of snow on the roof.
Is there?
Yeah.
I haven't looked up there.
Yeah, I suppose better to get it off than before it starts to make an ice. But it cause damage to shingles, or no worse than
This
walking up
building
there.
better not get ice dams on it.
Yeah.
They better have it ventilated better than that.
Oh, is that something we have to do?
Well, I mean, yeah, we can tell the maintenance people that they need to I mean, at least clean off 2 feet of it where they can reach the ground. Where it's a problem.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all I had.
Oh, and we tried to contact that gentleman too, with NDSU about, but he hasn't gotten back to us. I don't know if he's in Barbados or wherever he is.
Barbados?
Barbados? Yes, there you go. Mexico,
Barbados is in Spain.
is it?
Yep.
Okay. Could be there too.
I don't know off the Spanish coast. Very popular.
So we're trying to get a hold of him anyway.
Okay.
There's not much luck.
Okay.
Sam, what did the hospital ever say about that bill?
Nothing yet. Still like waiting on a response.
Future business?
Oh, yeah, I have something. Want to add extension service to the next meeting?
Okay.
Kim called me and wants to come and talk about county agents, so. But she said, I talked to her, she said there's 20 positions open in the state, so.
So just
If you want to talk about county agents, that makes 2 of us.
Is it county agent or extension?
Well, she's
extension.
Yeah.
She's the
Extension,
extension
okay.
in charge of county agents. yeah.
Okay.
the district,
20 openings?
so most of them are in the eastern part of the state, it's eastern half.
I think Grand Forks County has one, I know for sure.
I told her bring some ideas for us to have somebody do the 4-H thing, at least get that, keep that going, but, so.
Sounds good.
And the other things. if-
You got her number?
I don't.
335-3622.
3622?
Yep,
She wants to be on the next agenda.
yeah.
So, do we pay a DSU a fee, or we just pay a portion of the state's, of the county agent's salary?
That.
So when the county agent isn't here, we're not expending any money,
I believe so.
other than for the assistant or the secretary?
Is there nobody in there now, is there?
Patty's.
Yeah, she's the third,
Oh, that's
Patty's a
right.
third, yeah.
Okay.
and that would be, I think that'd be a good choice for doing the
4-H,
secretarial work.
yeah,
for
that's
us.
kinda what I wanted to, if she can at least do that.
She still has kids in school, doesn't she? So I suppose I go to Finley. She lives in Cooper. Yeah.
So, future business, you done with that one?
Yep.
We talked about it a little bit last meeting about engineering costs and what we're paying for engineers with the with the projects we've been doing. So, I don't know if you've been watching. It's called the Prairie Dog.
Mhm.
That's been going through our legislature, and that is the funding that's gonna come to the cities and counties. That comes out of the legacy fund, or the interest in the legacy fund, combined with oil.
Extraction tax.
Correct. And they're gonna try to make this funding,
Permanent, right?
permanent, based on how much revenue is coming in from the oil, and dampened by the interest in the legacy fund. So it won't go this way. It'll just gentle curves. Anyway, if that is the case, and we have a permanent funding for these, and these, we know these projects will come with the same stipulation of the engineering that all of the state projects do. We have to have the engineering. If we get $500,000 a year, which would be a lot less than we got the last 2 years, we got $3 million over a 2-year period. But say we got $500,000 a year at 15% engineering costs, that's $75,000. Now that probably wouldn't hire an engineer, but $75,000 combined with a combined position would. And we could conceivably have a combined position that's an engineer slash something else that would give us a full-time engineer and another employee.
Walsh County has an engineer. She's actually married to the juvenile court officer that I work with, but they have an engineer. She's done bridge design for them, or road project designs for them. Grand Forks County has an engineer that they hired. He was a KLJ engineer that used to come to Nelson County. A couple of commissioners in Nelson County have brought up working with another county to secure engineering services, so I maybe approach them if that's something that the county's interested in. It's a pile of money. There were 2 bills at the legislature this year. They both were killed by engineering firms. Or the engineering firms got their lobbyists, and there was a bill for Schroeder introduced one for $500,000 threshold for engineering, and that got absolutely smoked. And they thought there was going to be a compromise between the engineering lobbyist and the North Dakota Association of Counties and the League of Cities for a $250,000 threshold, and that lost earlier this week, I think, too. And that one wasn't supposed to be killed. So I don't know what happened there, but there were 2 of them in there for raising the thresholds, and they both got absolutely hammered. So Nelson County, I can say that Nelson County has expressed interest in doing the same thing and hiring an engineer between a couple different counties. So I think things have worked well between me and them, and between us and them with me, and social services seem like it's working, so I don't see why we couldn't do something with an engineer too.
Yeah, I think we need to think of some options.
We'll have to see what becomes of this, of
Sure.
the funding, and what the actual legislation looks like, because it is contingent on being a revenue stream there.
Sure.
I know what you're going to hear from KLJ, because I've heard this before up there, is that they're the best of the best. They've got the labs that they can use for testing. They've got all the surveying crew, and you're not just hiring an engineer, you're hiring all the services. So that's what you're going to hear from the engineering firms. But like everybody else, they screw up. They've screwed up projects up in Nelson County, and they've screwed up a 90-foot water tower project out in Dickinson that they don't like being reminded of. So, I mean, everybody screws up, and it is what it is. But I think that it's an alright deal to look into hiring an engineer. It's a heck of a lot cheaper for the county.
When they get their data for road maintenance, what to put on roads, the best gravel or mixes, is that That isn't data that they produce, that's data that they get from the department.
That's from the state, yeah.
From the state.
Well, and you know, they work on drains or whatever, well, that's all available through LiDAR. That might even be something that the water board would be interested in, you know, we could use some water board money in if they need engineering services too. So we're contracting them out to the water board for engineering services.
Yeah, it's an intriguing thought, I think, that we need to explore and see what we can come up with.
The engineering firms have had things pretty good in North Dakota the last 10 years because of oil, and it's getting to be the point that it's ridiculous.
Well, with any industry where competition is eliminated, which essentially it is, in the way that the engineering is done by the counties and the state, the services always are gonna suffer, and prices are gonna go up. There's nothing to motivate them any other way. But it just makes sense, if we can keep that 15% within the county and employ someone here, the money stays in the county.
You bet.
You know, and then, if we've taken that step, then why can't we be the contractor part of this stuff too? Why contract this stuff out? Why not use some of our own equipment and labor in order to do these jobs?
If we got the manpower.
And we already explored that, as long as we are at or below what the low bid was, we're able to do that. So just think the savings that gives us, because now we've already hired the labor. The labor's on a monthly basis. So. I think there's something we should look at anyway.
Yeah, good future business.
Is there just a month of session left? Done the end of March?
They just ended the second
Is
semester.
it a
There's one more
crossover?
semester left.
Yeah,
Crossover?
you know.
Yeah.
I think they recessed yesterday.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, so they got 45 days left.
Standing room only Peacock Alley yesterday the day.
The Walrus is the new favorite place.
Oh.
Oh, that's bad. Walrus whiz.
What's that?
Drank too much Walrus whiz before.
Is that where the lobbyist thing went?
I think between Peacock Alley and the Walrus, I think that's the two popular spots.
I think I did it when it was in session too.
Yeah.
Anything else?
We adjourn.
Moved by Sean, that we adjourn. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Dale. All in favor, say aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 3:55 p.m. Next meeting will be March 8th at 2:30 p.m.